narrowing your list. In this lesson you're going to learn how to take your hot opportunity list, including your competing products, and narrow down your list to your 3 best hot opportunities to take into the next module. You are now going to evaluate your opportunities and choose your best 3 to move forward with. However, that does not mean you discard the rest. They might well be future products for you. So although we are going to choose the best 3, we are not going to delete the rest. You have worked hard to build this list, and they are all potential future products. Estimated profit margin. Before contacting suppliers, we can only estimate the profit margin of a product. The estimation is not especially accurate, but is more a way of comparing your products, and for the most part will become a kind of tiebreak. And you might find that once you contact suppliers that it might be higher or lower. But Mike is going to be covering this in great detail in the next module. So here we are back at our product opportunity spreadsheet. And as you can see, I've added a couple more products. Now I've only got 12, but you should have at least 15 to go through this process, especially for the first time. Now before we get started, I'm going to show you how to quickly calculate your estimated profit margin. And as I've already said, this is a very basic estimation, and we're only going to use it for comparison. So in other words, if 2 products on our list are fairly close, we might use the estimated profit margin as a tiebreak. To do this, we're going to go to a site called Alibaba.com. Now you are going to be learning a lot more about this site in the next module, but we are going to use it to calculate our basic estimated profit margin. All we need to do is take the keyword of a product. So we copy the keyword, we go back to Alibaba, paste it in, and hit search. Now you're going to learn a lot more about different filters you can use, but for the sake of basic estimation, we're just going to check the gold supplier box in the middle here. Now essentially what Alibaba is a website where suppliers basically post the kinds of products they sell and give you a rough estimation of how much they'll cost you. If we look at this first example, you can see it's all different types of colors, which is not necessarily what we're looking for, because we're looking for something that's as close as possible to our product. But I just want to show you something briefly. First of all, on most listings, you're going to see this minimum order. Now this is actually minimum order quantity, or MOQ. Again, Mike will be covering this in great detail in the next module. Essentially, it means the number of units you need to buy to achieve the price above. So for instance, for this product, it's saying $3.45 to $3.65. And to get that kind of price, you need to order at least 1,008 pieces. Now, don't let this worry you. Mike's going to be showing you how you negotiate with suppliers to get better deals. But it's important you understand what it is to look at these next examples. So if we go to the next one, we can see that this product here looks very like the product we saw on Amazon. And you can see here it's saying $2.24 to $2.69, and the MOQ is 2,000 pieces. Now that's quite a big MOQ, but what we might assume here is if it went down to say 500 pieces, then the price might go up a little bit. But remember, we're estimating. And what we're going to do is we're just going to look at 2 or 3 different examples and try and find an average price. So if we scroll down, we know for this one, it's about $2.50. This next product is nothing like ours, nor is the next one. Just keep it going until you find one that's similar. This looks much more like the product we want. It's $2.65 to $3.20, so we're going up here. But you notice it's got a lower MOQ. So I'm thinking an average price for this is $2.80. So we've got $2.50 and $2.80. And again, the next one. Now this is a good example because this is what you're going to see. You're going to see anomalies. This one, for instance, is saying 50 cents to $1. Now, what you have to bear in mind is these suppliers, they're trying to get you to open their listing in exactly the same way as when we're selling on Amazon. We want people to open up our listing. So because this one is nothing like the first 2 we've seen in terms of price, I'm just going to ignore it. Okay, keep going down till we see something similar. And I've got all the way to the bottom to find one that looks very similar to ours. And you see this one's $4.50 to $5. So I'm going to discount that one as well because it's almost double what the others were. And I'm going to be happy with the 2 I saw. Now what you can also do, if I scroll back to the top, is you can try changing the keyword to see if it brings up more results. So I've changed mine to electric salt and pepper grinder. I could have used electronic as well. and then I would go through and look. But I'm going to say that I'm happy with $2.75 being an average kind of price. And as you can see, this is a very basic estimation. So I'd go back to the sheet and I'd just put $2.75. So we'll take a quick look at the next one. Automatic soap dispenser. You just put it into the search and click search. I'm going to check the Go supplier box again. And then we're looking again for products that are similar to ours. Now this is actually quite a broad keyword, so I imagine we're going to see a lot of different types, but it's just a case of scrolling down. And this one looks very similar, but you can see it says 1-piece minimum order. That is highly unlikely, and it's not showing me a price. Now I could probably open up the page and maybe find a price, but to be honest, I'm not really interested in going that deep. I'm just going to keep carrying on till I find one. You can see this one actually says wholesale Amazon hot fingerprint resistant stainless steel touchless sensor. This is actually the identical product to the one we saw on Amazon, and they're saying $3 to $5 for 1 piece. When they show 1 piece, I'm always very skeptical, but basically we're talking about $4 in the middle. Keep going down. Next one's kind of similar, but if you remember, it was mostly stainless steel, the one we were looking at. But you can see again, it's $4. It's around a $4 mark. Keep going and see if we can find another example. This one looks very similar, and you can see it's $1 to $4.50 and 500 minimum order. A little bit dubious about that price, but probably going to go to the high end and maybe say $4. Keep scrolling down. We've got another one. This one's saying $2.36 to $5.26, and you can see the minimum order is 100. So the minimum order probably applies to the higher price, but as I said before, they are trying to entice you to click on their listing, so you're never really going to know the exact price until you contact them. So I'm going to say we're still looking okay at $4. Maybe find one more. There's another similar one here, $3 to $5. So again, we're looking at $4 average. So I'm going to be happy with $4. So I'm going to go back and put $4 in. Do one more example, and don't overthink this. You just want to be getting a rough idea of the estimated profit margin. So I'm imagining the price is going to be quite a bit higher for this product. And this is an example of one you would just ignore. This one's saying $1 to $15. That's a ridiculous price range. And I very much doubt they will sell any of these at $1, no matter how many you buy. This one's $15 again. This one looks very similar to one of the products that was on Amazon. It's $1 to $10. Keep going. Here's another one. You can see this one, they're looking for $80. It's more than twice the price on Amazon. Not sure what they're going to think they're going to get there. 60 to 80. We've got one here, $1 to 120. So all these prices are pretty crazy. It actually looks like a lot of them are saying 1 as a minimum order. So I think they're used to people contacting them, normal consumers maybe, and ordering 1. Could be the reason. So this one, as you can see, it's quite difficult to figure it out. And this looks much more reasonable. $10 to $20, 10 to 30. 10 to 30. So it looks like we're getting more reasonable kind of prices, and they all seem to be roughly $10 to $30. So I'm going to say it's $20. So that's basically all you need to do. Remember, me personally, I only use the estimated profit margin as a tie break. So if I'm trying to decide between 2 products, I will look at it then. But because it's such a rough guesstimate, should we call it, it's not something I use to make an absolute choice on a product on its own. So that's how we get our basic estimated profit margin. And now we're actually going to start working with our list. Okay, so as you can see, I've added all the estimated profit margins. If you notice them at the top, I've put NA, and that is because the softball fielder's mask, I only found one result in Alibaba, which probably means I've got to find a supplier in the US. Now, if you come across this, what you need to do is just do a search in Google. Use the keyword followed by either wholesale or private label or white label or manufacturer, something like that, and just look at the results and try and find one that's got a rough ballpark figure for the amount they're going to charge per unit, and that will help with your estimated profit margin. Now, Mike is going to go into much more detail about finding products in the US in the next module. Now, one more thing I did is several of these products had primary products with a higher BSR number than the secondary products. So I've actually gone in and rearranged them because this makes it much easier for you to see what's going on. So you always want to have your primary product to be the one with the lowest BSR. So let's get started. Now, how you choose to sort these products In other words, what type of criteria you want to be the most important is to a certain extent down to you. There is no real wrong way of doing this. You might choose to go for the products with the highest price, which can possibly give you the highest profit margin, but will also mean a higher inventory cost. Or you can look at the least competitive products, either by looking at BSR or reviews. It really is up to you, and you can mix it up. It's something I do quite a lot. I will pick one product that's at the top of the price range, one product that's at the top of the BSR range, in other words the highest BSR number because it's likely to have the least competition, and also the one with the highest reviews. This is where we can use reviews a lot because it will give us an idea of the competition. But I'm going to start by looking at reviews. I'm going to look at the 3 or 4 products with the lowest number of reviews across the board and select one of those as our final 3. To do that, all I need to do is go to the reviews column, which you can see here is J. And then I'm going to click on this little drop down you see to the right of the letter. And I'm going to go down to sort sheet. For some reason I find that difficult to say. And I'm going to sort by A to Z. In other words, lowest to highest. And all I need to do is click on it. And it's sorted all our products by the lowest reviews. Now there's a couple of ways you can make this easier for you to look at. One way is to click on the number 2, which is the top line, and the number 5, for instance, if we wanted to look at 4 products, and you can see it highlights it all. Another way, and it's the way I do it, but you want to be very careful and make sure you're familiar with using Excel, is I right click on the number below and I click insert one above. And what that does, it just puts a line between the top 4 and the rest. So I'm looking at these top 4, which essentially have the lowest number of reviews for the primary product, to see which it looks the best of those 4. Now we know that these have all got the lowest reviews, so they're going to be the easiest to compete against when it comes to reviews, but we can look at their other elements too, like price, BSR, and use those to gauge which we think the best of these 4 is. So if we look at price, the top one is $29.99. The other 3 are fairly similar in price. The top one has a 1915 BSR number in Home and Kitchen. The second one's got 357, so that's quite high up in the BSR. However, Arts and Crafts is a smaller category. You can tell that by looking at the BSR numbers. And then we've got 623 in Home and Kitchen. And finally 1092. So in terms of BSR, the automatic salt and pepper grinder is probably going to get the most sales and might well compensate for the difference in price between the two. But let's have a look at the competing products. You can see the first competing product for the mini clothes steamer is 2076. So if we get position 2, we'll be making the sales of a BSR of 2076, whereas the automatic salt and pepper grinder is 2757. So position 2, we might make slightly less sales. And then if we look at the third one, again, the automatic salt and pepper grinder at 29,336 is going to make less sales at number 3. Now this becomes a trade-off because, as we discussed several times, although it's going to be making less sales because it's got a higher BSR number, it's also going to be less competitive. And we don't rule out the Arts and Crafts one just yet. And the next thing we can look at is the reviews. Now obviously we've sorted by the lowest number. So the top product, it has got the least number of reviews, so it's the easiest to compete with. But what about the competing products? You can see here, this one's got 209, which is a lot more than our second product, which was the LED light box tracer. However, what was looking like being our second best product, you can see it's got 444. And lastly, the reviews number 3, it's got 287 against 219. So overall, I'm actually going to say the top 2 are probably the best. And what I'm actually going to choose, and it's almost arbitrary, there's no hard and fast rule for this, I'm actually probably going to choose this second product here. Because although it's in a smaller category, it's still going to make decent sales. And I like the look of the reviews. Because if you look at them, none of them are high competition. You've got 142, 75 and 122. This should be easy to compete with. It doesn't mean the top one won't be. It's just a case of weighing up the pros and cons. So I'm going to choose that one. So this is basically going to become one of our final 3 products. And to make it stand out so we don't confuse it with other searches, I'm going to click on the drop down color here. You see where it says A. And I'm going to select red. So that is our first choice. Now we could carry on and choose another one of these 3 products. However, I'm going to show you a different way of sorting. First of all, I'm going to remove the blank line by right clicking on the number and clicking on delete row. And this time I'm going to search by price. I'm literally going to look for the highest price product. So I'm going to go to D, select the drop down, and I want to go from Z to A this time because I want the highest number at the top. And there we go. And again, I'm going to separate 4 and 5 with a blank line. So I go to number 6, right click and select insert one above. And we've got our 4 top products. Now we're seeing that the first 2 products at 37 and 35 have a higher price, but it's not a huge amount more, $4 or $5. But that can really add up when you're making a lot of sales. But let's look at the other factors. If we look at the top product at 674, in sports and outdoors, which is a fairly big category, and the second product's 338. So it's probably not a huge difference between them in sales. Then we've got 1915, which is obviously it's going to be making less sales, but again, less competition. And we've got 817, which again is making less sales. But if we look at BSR 2 for these products, we can see the second one is definitely making a lot more sales than the other 3, but again, it's probably got more competition. And again, in the BSR 3, it's making more sales again. Now, this is fairly obvious. If we look at the reviews following this, and not just the BSR, we can see that this product, although it's making more sales, is also more competitive. It's very difficult to compete with these first 2, but we can definitely compete with the third one. However, if we look at the one above, which we've already looked at when we sorted by reviews, we can see these reviews are fairly easy, with the exception of the top product, but definitely number 2 and 3 are fairly easy to compete with. I'm actually going to choose this product. Now in this situation, remember we didn't find any search results or just one search result in Alibaba. So if I was going to choose this product, I would go and do a little bit more investigation to make sure I could source it at a decent price. But for the sake of this example, I'm going to select it. So I've highlighted it by clicking on the number 2, going up to the A to change the text color to red. And we've now got 2. So I'm going to do one final search. I'm going to delete the blank line again. And this time I'm going to search by BSR. I'm going to search by highest. And what I'm looking for here is the easiest one to compete against in terms of BSR, which is kind of the opposite of what we've done previously. Because although we search by lowest reviews, we still want to look for the one with the most sales. However, I'm going to sort by Z to A because I want it to be the highest BSR number. And we're actually seeing the mini clothing steamer again. And the fact that it's turned up in all 3 searches is something that would stick out to me. And I would probably just jump in and select this one. It's important that you remember, you are trying to select the best 3 products, but it's a very subjective thing. And you might actually find that you select 3 products and you go through module 2 and you find that they're not actually viable. Because once you start contacting suppliers, the price might not give you a big enough profit margin, or the MOQ might be too large. You really don't know till you get to that stage. So we're just trying to choose the best 3 options for us to move forward with. But we're going to do this properly. I'm going to go down to number 6, insert one above, and take a look. Now, because we're actually looking here, I specifically wanted the least competition. So we've got it sorted by least competition for BSR. And then we want to look at the competing BSR. And again, it's the top 2 products. Got 2,000. The second one's actually even less competition at 3492. So they're both looking okay. BSR 3. The second one's definitely got less competition in terms of BSR. So we're still looking at number 2 as probably being the best. Although the concealment holster at 4901 is also looking very uncompetitive for the third product. And in this situation, the tiebreaker is going to be the reviews. And although our automatic soap dispenser is the least competitive in terms of BSR, the high number of reviews would put me off this product. And for me, looking at these, even though I haven't even mentioned it yet, the 2 I would look at would be the baby memory book and the mini clothing steamer. Even though the memory book has a lower BSR number, in all 3 cases, the baby category is a smaller category. So I would literally be torn between those 2. So as I said before, when it came down to it, I would always be looking as a tiebreak at the profit margin. So to calculate the profit margin, remember so far in this column, I've just got the price of the products. So if you make this kind of mistake, you forget to actually calculate the profit margin and you just put the product price in. Remember to always compare it to the price. So in other words, just before I pause, this top one is $29.99 and you're going to subtract the $6 for the price of the product. So it become $23.99. And actually, before I go and fill out the rest of these, I'm actually going to choose the last product because I'm going to figure out the profit margin for this third one. Because remember, I decided it was either 1 or 3 we were going to go with. The baby memory book is $19.99 less $150 gives us $18.49. If I make a mistake with my maths, I do apologize. But as you can see, this one's got the highest profit margin. It's $5.50 more than the other one. And when you start making significant sales, that's a big amount of difference. So I would choose this product as my third one. Now I am going to pause the video and just go out and fill out the rest of the profit margins correctly. Okay, so to all intents and purposes, I've chosen my 3 best products for moving forward, and I would literally take these products and follow Mike's directions in module 2 to contact suppliers for them. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Remember, this is very subjective. There is no right or wrong way. Essentially, every single one of these products at this point is a viable product for you. And the only way you're definitely going to know is by taking it through module 2 and contacting suppliers. The reason we picked the best 3 in our estimation is because trying to contact suppliers for 15 products all at once is very prohibitive. It's way too time consuming. So the idea here is you pick your best 3 products. And remember, you can choose to do this however you want. You can literally choose the 3 with the lowest overall reviews, or the 3 with the highest price, or even 3 that are all in the same category and related. It is up to you. I've just shown you some examples of the way you can sort these products and make that decision. Me personally, I will always try and go for the highest price along with the lowest reviews. But it's up to you, however you want to find your way. And whatever you do, do not get hung up on this part of the whole equation. This is literally an exercise that should not take you longer than 15 to 20 minutes. And unlike me, make sure you put the profit margin in the profit margin column and not the product price. But we got there in the end. So what's next? So now you've learned how to narrow down your hot opportunity list to just 3 products. And you'll be taking these 3 products into the next module. And in the next module, you'll be learning how to find and contact suppliers. And in that module, you will narrow down your list of 3 to your best opportunity. And with that opportunity, you're going to be ordering samples. Action step, make sure you've narrowed down your list to 3 hot opportunities ready for module 2. And go and claim your Seller Central setup badge and also your Opportunity Finder badge. But that's it for this lesson. Take care.